Hey there folks, connecting dots here, May 16th, day 67 of Fukushima. Okay, I wish I had some good news, and I don't. And I received an email from a friend of mine, and he said, you know, I really like your videos, they're informative, but you know, they kind of scare people a little bit. But then again, he goes on to say, I guess we kind of have, this is scary stuff, we should be scared a little bit. Hell yeah. And he was wondering if I could make some videos on how to protect ourselves. And I'm like, well, I didn't respond to him yet, but I'm like, yeah, he's right. You know, I'm going to get onto that. I am getting onto that. Except, I guess, I got to keep working on those that are still sitting in the dark here on the sidelines, wondering if this is going to come about, you know. Or maybe you're waiting for Health Canada to give you a heads up, right? Well, this video is about to show you that Health Canada is not going to give you a heads up. In fact, they've passed some rules and regulations to allow radiated food and radiation in your water to be served up in the food chain, and they're not going to tell you. No, I'm not making this up. In all my videos, I always provide all the links to every story that I cover. It's down below. Just click on the Show More box, and you can see it yourself. You're paying your tax dollars to a government, which you own, your dollars, your government, your Health Canada, supposed to protect you, and they're not. Same thing goes for the media. And those of you that live in the United States, you think you're out of the clear? No, you're not. Your media is not covering it. The EPA has also changed its acceptable levels of radiation in your food and your water. I'll show a couple of links here. You guys will see it's already showing up in the food. I'll play a clip here for those of you that live in Canada from CBC TV. Was March 12th, the day after Fukushima, and you get to see how these folks were worried back there, but no one's doing their job now. They're all silent, and your government's about to allow radiated food and water into the food chain. Folks, it's time you turn off the dummy box. The TV is not telling you the truth. They're keeping you in the dark. It's not time for dancing with the stars. You need to turn that off right now. I don't want to scare anyone, but I'm going to show it in this little video that there's a lot of things that we need to be paying attention to. Fukushima, we're at day 67. They've just announced now it's going to take several years for it to contain. Yes, not just a couple, several years. We're only day 67. There's 365 days in a year. We're at day 67. Wait till you see the headlines, what's being found in the food and the water already. And now our government's setting up regulations so they won't be telling you. Folks, you need to pay attention. You need to favorite this. You need to pass it on. You need to give this a top rating. Everyone needs to know what's going on, American or not, Canadian or not. Everyone needs to jump on board. We're all working together. We're in this together, and those guys are not on our sides all of a sudden. The media's gone blank. Health Canada is going to allow radiated food. The EPA's raised its acceptable limits of radiation in the food thousands of times higher than it was prior to Fukushima. What's going on here? Do you folks not see one of the biggest world's cover-up? Like, come on. Fukushima is higher than Chernobyl. We heard about that on the news all the time. How come this is not on the news all the time? It should be. Not Hockey Night in Canada. Not Dancing with the Stars. Not UFC fighting. What's going on? Okay, so again, I don't want to scare, but you guys need to pay attention. Again, look at, here we go, May 9th. Okay, so yeah, it's a little old, but it doesn't matter. The physician says U.S. should continue monitoring rain because of Fukushima. It always turns out that radiation is higher than first thought. And those of us that follow these disasters, the same thing happened with the oil spill. Remember at first BP was telling you it was only 1,000 to 1,600 gallons per day being spewed out of the oil leak. Then it turns out it was what, 76,000 to 82,000 gallons per day. It's all about controlling the media and minimizing the impact, the damage done. They don't want you to know. They want you to watch Dancing with the Stars, all the dummy stuff on the dummy box. You need to get off that stuff. Okay, folks, here we go. My headlines, I got a bunch of them. Stick around. Like I said, I got a TV show here from a clip from the TV. Again, here, this is May 15th. TEPCO trying to prevent recriticality at reactor number 3. Temperature soaring in pressure vessel up over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in 24 hours, even after increasing the water injection. Now, the reason why that's important is because they're increasing the water injection because they're trying to bring up the temperature. When it goes soaring, that means it's building up pressure. That means the reactor is firing back up. It's gone into meltdown. Yeah, that's the truth here. This is what's taking place. Again, here, May 16th. Alert! Melted fuel in number 1 reactor not covered with water. What do you think that means, that it's not covered with water? Those reactors need to be covered with water all the time. So if there's no water, what's happening? It's an alert. What do you think it is? I don't want to scare you guys, but that's what it's all about. It's not about, hey, you know, Febreze is just about to spray out some more Febreze here. Open up your windows. It's going to smell good. No. Here again, cesium-137. Look, May 16th. Cesium-137, which by the way has a half-life of 30 years, and no, it's not gone in 60 years. It lasts a little longer than 60 years. But then again, you know, are you going to be around in 60 years to find out? Because most of these cancers are going to hit you in 5 to 10. That's the truth of it. Yeah, some of us last longer, we can take it longer, but the majority of us are going to fall like flies within the first 5 to 10 to 15 years. So again, I don't want to fear, but you guys need to be aware of what's going on. You need to favor this, you need to pass it along. It's already found in the strawberries and the kale and the grass in Northern California. I've mentioned before in my prior stories, they found it in the milk up here in Spokane, Washington. They've also found it in Montpelier, Vermont. They also found it in Hawaii, Phoenix, Arizona. It's been all over the place. Okay, again, another story. Reactor number 1 core had total meltdown and uranium fuel may be outside containment building. Nuclear reaction could have restarted. This is fresh off the press, folks. I don't mean to scare you, but I'm going to move along real fast here. I got a couple of things I want to cover. Okay, again, highly radioactive substance detected in Tokyo, higher than what was found near Fukushima. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because this is important. I should say the reason I'm saying it's important, and I picked this story up, and those of you are probably saying, well, why is he showing us, you know, it's in Tokyo, I don't live there. Well, the fact is, the same as what happened when they tested the bomb here in the United States. Remember that testing, that nuclear bomb they let off? Well, a lot of you don't remember that, but regardless, most of that radioactive, those radioactive particles are still, what, 78 to 80% of them are still floating around in the northern hemisphere. Well, we're looking at a lot more radiation here coming out of Fukushima. So most of it is going up into the air again, and the I haven't got the link here, but I'll try and dig it up again. It was the University of Fukushima. They released and did some atmospheric testing, and at about 8.6 kilometers up in the air, they found radiation levels much, much higher than what was on the ground. So it's what a lot of scientists have been saying. It's going up to the upper atmosphere, and it gets carried with the trade winds, comes over to the west coast, hits us, lands in our food, you know, falls in the rain droplets, you know. Okay, again, May 16th, TEPCO says fuel in reactors number 2 and 3 may have melted. Announcement about the 2 reactors will be made later. Why later? Why shouldn't we be told right away? This should be on your news tonight. You guys should know that they're looking now, not only is reactor 1 possibly have melted, they've admitted that, sorry, not possibly, it has melted, they've admitted that now. So now we're looking at more reactors, great. Okay, another story here on Friday. They've gotten into plant number 1. Remember, that was day 64, I believe. That was the first time they ever got into the plant here. And it turns out that on the second floor, the readings were so high, it went right up the top of the scales, they can't even measure it properly. And by the way, one of the workers died that day. Rushed to hospital, died. As he's going to the hospital, he died. He never made it. That's how high the radiation levels are in number 1. Now, here again, another bunch of good stories on this one. I hope you folks go check this out. I'll leave a link here, but I basically put this one up for 2 things. The complete iodine rain radiation update, Idaho rain, 14,066% above the EPA limit. Okay, so I was telling you it comes down in the rain. I'm not lying here. Okay, so this is about a simulation. If you want to take a look and see what happens when they release 3 million gallons of dumped radioactive seawater as it spreads throughout the ocean. There's a little map here. You can come take a look at it. That's basically near the end of it. You can see how, well, and this forecast is short-lived, so no, that's not the end of it. That's just a couple of days. Okay, next. As I was saying, you know, in the beginning, because this clip is from the beginning. This was uploaded on YouTube on March 13th, so I'm assuming it was on CBC News March 12th, the day after the tsunami hit Fukushima plant. Now, what's sad is here, your news is actually living up to being what they're supposed to be. News, reporting the news. Now they're reporting nothing but crap. Fukushima is the world's worst nuclear disaster, and they're reporting what? Crap. Osama bin Laden. He's already been dead. How many years? It's a joke. We all know that, okay? And sorry to say, CBC, You suck, guys. And it's not your fault, actually, so I don't say in CBC themselves. It's the people that control our media. The same people that are allowed now the food to be radiated food in our water, controlling our government. Yeah. It's not a conspiracy, it's the truth, folks. The problem is most of you don't want to listen to this stuff. But here, you're going to hear from your CBC News now how they were concerned. And remember, March 12th, how come they're not concerned anymore? Duh! What's going on? What's going on here? Come on!
A possible tsunami was the immediate threat here in BC. Now there is the risk of radioactive fallout. 2 nuclear power plants in Japan are damaged. And as Bell Peary reports, that's cause for alarm here.
Japan has declared a state of emergency at 2 nuclear power plants. 5 reactors have been shut down because of cooling problems due to power outages after the earthquake. Radioactive vapor has been released from at least one of them to protect the reactor. The question is, where will the vapor go?
We tend to see weather systems coming up and over via sort of the Aleutian Panhandle or down through Hawaii and up and in.
In the long term, it'll come to us. The danger depends on what happens in Japan. If the cooling systems aren't repaired within 24 hours, a core meltdown is a risk. The worst case is a Chernobyl scenario with explosions destroying the reactors and sending a deadly plume of radioactivity into the air. Nuclear experts say venting radioactive steam into the atmosphere to alleviate pressure in the reactors is bad for the population generally.
So there you go. They told you that just releasing the steam was bad for the population in general. And as you can see, no, that's not Febreze coming out of the reactor. That's radioactive steam, loaded with hundreds of radioactive particles. And once again, I'll put a link at the end of this video. It tells you from a nuclear scientist, Gordon Edwards, who was on the David Suzuki, Nature of Things, Pierre Burton's Wonderful World. He's one of the highest respected nuclear specialists here in Canada. He's even been on the Canadian Safety Council, Nuclear Safety Council. Just kind of odd here how my family, actually I'm not going to get into that, but we had something to do with the Atomic Energy Control Board of Canada. But regardless, that's an old story. I want to stick here with what I know here and what's happening here. And it's just sad that our news is not picking up on this. I know how dangerous this is, and you folks need to get informed. I hope you subscribe. I hope you give this a thumbs up. I'm on Pal Talk here every night. I've opened up a room so you folks can come join us. It's called The Future of Things According to the Webbots. And you know what? If you don't know the Webbots, don't worry about it. And by the way, if you come to this room here, I'll put 2 links in the description box down below. One of them is for download chat, and the other one is for this room. When you come to this room, it says chat open. That's a lie. This room, something has happened to it. I cannot post properly in here anymore, and the chat is not open. The chat is closed, and don't click on enter room because it links you up to where? Here, I'll show you. It's not working, okay? And if it did work, it didn't matter because the last time I tried it, it was a different download from what I'm about to show you here. The one I'm going to give you is directly from the Pal Talk, okay? Download. You come to this site, you don't download this one, okay? Because it includes a Norton PC checkup. You go down just below and it says, just download Pal Talk. That's the one you want. Okay, going back to the main story here, Health Canada. And you know, yeah, they did change the rules. And, you know, I'm a 2012 researcher, so I don't care if you're turned off by that or not. But the fact is, I've been talking about these food shortages coming up and economic collapse now since early 2008, prior to the market crash of 2008. And by the way, those of you that don't like conspiracies, too bad, so sad, because I predicted the September 2008 crash to the exact date by following conspiracies. That's the truth of it. So if you want to watch your mainstream TV thinking they're going to give you a heads up, it ain't going to happen. You'll get it here from me connecting dots first. Okay, I got to show this here because I'm almost out of time. But basically, it comes down to this part of the text right here. We all know you're supposed to take the food off if there's radiation, but they say these actions levels for the withdrawal and substitution of food and drinking water following a nuclear emergency are appropriate. As I said, we all know they're appropriate. If there is no shortage of food or other social or economic constraints, it's about to hit a big market crash. The EU dollar is going to fall, then the US dollar is falling. Eventually they're all falling. We're going back on a gold standard. Of course there's going to be economic constraints. Manitoba's on fire. You know, we have, Alberta's on fire. Manitoba is sinking in the water. It's flooded. US is flooded. Food, we're going to have problems, folks. They've already allowed here, you know, there won't be any substitution. I hope you join us on Pal Talk. We're there every night. Join us there, folks. See you soon. Ciao.